And here at the 12 o'clock position on Metropolis, we have our blue Zerg player down 3-4, but he is still our reigning Fight Club champion. Trying to bring things back, it's Slayer's CoCa. And his opponent at the 9 o'clock position, our red Protoss player challenger this week, and just one game away from taking the set, it is Squirtle. And I want to give a big shout out as well to Slayer's teammate Crank, who actually did win the amateur championship over the weekend.
Oh, really?
So we'll be attending IPL5. Now, of course, we debated for a really long time, how do you determine amateur status? It's because you have some people that, you know, they're paid a salary, but yet they may not have the biggest amount of wins. It's really difficult to determine. We ended up setting it as someone who's not made over $1,000 at live events. And Crank was one such player who fit into that scenario, and he ended up taking the set and knocked out players like Zenek's Life on the way. Yep,
that's right. So it'll be cool to see him at IPL 5. But I'm wondering right now, man. I mean, I'm curious to see if CoCa can tie things up. We talked about Metropolis being the possible last map, but I like the decision by CoCa to go ahead and do it for this one, because he's like, all right, I know I need to get this out of the way. If I can't win on Metropolis, it doesn't matter if it's game 8 or if it's game 9. So if I'm going to have to play on this map, I want to be able to play it on game 8 so that the ace match can be on a map that I'm more comfortable on, you know, i.e. Sandshore and Mist. So it's a good decision by CoCa. It's going to be a tougher map. The third base is a little bit farther away. It is separated by those destructible rocks from the main and the natural. That's why Zergs tend to kind of avoid it a little bit, but it is fairly large too, so you do tend to have a little bit more time to prepare for those sorts of two-base all-ins that we saw Squirtle win with on game, the last game we saw in a couple other ones too. So it's not a bad map overall for CoCa. It's just not quite as good as some of the other ones.
One thing I've noticed about CoCa too, going for this strategy to put down that third first, which we have seen some players do, is that as the match has gone along, he's actually gotten better about putting this down at the right time so it hits at exactly 300 resources. I think he was still kind of in the habit of, oh, I send out my drone now when I want to take a natural, and he was sending it down to his natural or at the time he would have sent it down to his natural, 300 resources would have been available, but actually since the third is so much farther away, you actually accumulate many more resources than that. But CoCa's kind of figured that out, and this one came down with just 40 extra resources on the field. That's the cleanest he's gotten to putting that hatchery down.
Nice, high score.
Boom!
Hooray! So, Squirtle getting his gas. Going to be going for that warp gate research, possible +1. We'll have to see what he has planned. And yeah, I mean, this is a map, you know, we saw a little bit of Stargate tech last game, but this is a map that I feel like Stargate works really well for Protoss. We saw Hero beat DRG with it, actually, and he did in a really interesting way. If you guys didn't catch Hot Import Nights, the tournament that we ran there this weekend, definitely go back and watch that. There's a game on Metropolis where Hero makes 2 Stargates, sends out 1 Void Ray to kind of harass, get his opponent, get DRG to react to that sort of thing, while secretly building, you know, more Phoenixes and more Void Rays at home, and then attacks all of that at a time when DRG was not prepared and ended up winning the game too. So there's some pretty clever Stargate-related strategies you can do on this map, but right after doing it last game, I don't know if he's going to do it again, but you know, there's a lot of mind games that go into this type of thing too, so we could see it.
Yeah, that's certainly right. And Squirtle just making sure that that natural is there. Indeed, he picks up on it. And it looks like he's going to go after the quick robotics facility like he did a couple previous games, getting that before his Warp Gate research, as a matter of fact. We've seen him do a lot of things with this. We've seen him do the 3 Immortal push with a Warp Prism. We've seen him do a little bit more of an expand alongside of this. So he certainly has some flexibility, but he could get very, very aggressive once again.
I think the Immortal push wouldn't be a bad choice at all for Squirtle. I mean, it'll help him take down the destructible rocks a little bit quicker as he gets fast Immortals out, so he'll have the option of taking that third. But just in terms of games that have looked the most one-sided in our match today, I think the one where Squirtle did go for that 3 Immortal build really was the one that seemed like he won the most convincingly. You know, he absolutely smashed CoCa in that game. So it's I think that's probably a pretty decent choice. We'll see.
Yeah, and looks like Immortal #1 is popping out at the same time that he takes his. Is that
if you're
coherent
Gollum from Lord of the Rings?
That's exactly
yes,
what I was thinking.
Yes.
He takes his gases. That was the worst Gollum impression I've ever heard either. So I'm just going to stop with that train of thought. Anyway, 3 gas coming up now for CoCa. He's sitting comfortably on 3 bases, but Squirtle is taking his third and fourth gases along with his Immortals.
And he's hiding those Immortals too, keeping them away from the front. Obviously, if a Zergling runs up there, he'll be able to see that Robo, and it won't really take a big leap of logic to kind of guess what Squirtle is doing. But, you know, at the very least, Squirtle doesn't want to show it early on.
And once again, we see a similar sort of thing coming out of CoCa. Although I have to mention, he decided to get his Evolution Chamber at the same time he got his Roach Warren with his 3 gases. So it looks like he's maybe thinking that there could be some airplay on this map. Already getting, or making sure that he's going to have complete vision everywhere as well.
Well, putting that Creep Tumor down there as well definitely makes it seem like he's thinking about it a little bit. Some Zerg players have been, oh wow, he really thinks it's airplay, getting Spore Crawlers.
God.
Interesting. Okay, so yeah, he has got a feeling that it is going to be that, and at the very least, you know, he'll be prepared for it. Some Spore Crawlers isn't really the big investment in the world. So, and this is actually something that a lot of Zerg players used to do. They used to get a couple Spores blind just in case, you know. So it's an investment, but it's not the end of the world here. That's interesting though. I wonder. Yeah, he must have just completely misread the situation there, too.
Still, though, that's a score for Squirtle. He just killed 3 drones, and was it 75 resources for each Spore Crawler? Oh my God, there's more coming up as well. So.
Wow, CoCa completely misreading this. Man, I mean, like I said, it's one thing to make a couple blind Spore Crawlers. That's perfectly fine, but he's made 4 of them already. That's overdoing it a little bit if your opponent isn't going for any sort of Stargate tech. And I wonder what I didn't see what the Overlords saw when they scouted a little bit earlier.
Oh, I just looked at it. Look at this.
Yeah, that may be part of it too. I mean, he might be kind of thinking that because CoCa went so far to kind of deny those Overlord scouts.
God, and Hydralisk coming up too.
Totally thinks it's air. Yep. Big misread. The Zerglings see the push coming now, and he knows that he just made a big mistake. He's got Roaches coming out with +1 missile attack, so it's not over quite yet. But CoCa's like, oh great, now I have to completely shift gears, get ready for this very strong 3 Immortal push.
Yeah,
it's going to be a little bit dangerous.
Hydras are still good against what he's got on the field. I mean, Immortals and Gateway units do die very quickly to them, but he just needed any units in order to stay safe, and it looks like he made it a big round of Roaches, and Squirtle's just going to go right through the front.
Yes, he is, and I don't think there's a whole lot that CoCa can do about it. He's actually going to run right up the ramp and force field the ramp so CoCa can't chase him.
Oh
there's the force field. It's not perfect, but it's good enough.
Yeah, that'll work, and he's going to continue warping in units now, so CoCa is really on the back foot, and he's just about to lose his main. He just lost his Roach Warren. He can only make Hydralisks now, and that's going to fall here in a second.
I think CoCa may be just about to lose Fight Club. He's making a couple Hydras right now, but yeah, he just completely misread the situation here in this crucial game number 8, and Squirtle with this strong 3 Immortal push is going to clean house. Goodbye Lair, goodbye pretty much everything in the main. A desperate counterattack coming across the map for Squirtle, but there is some cannons there to defend, and CoCa.
Yep, plenty of them.
Yep, nice force field down there. Squirtle shouldn't have too hard of a time defending against this.
Yep, a lot of those Roaches have already fallen. The main has gone down now for CoCa as well. More Roaches coming out, but they can't even go through the front wall. The Forge is taking so much damage, but it is going to hold, and the Photon Cannons are going to do the rest. Squirtle continuing to warp in a few units up at the front, just powering his way through everything that CoCa has. This is going to be a worker massacre here in a second.
Yep, that's right, man. If this was MVP Genius, he'd be dancing those Stalkers all over the place. 17 Hydras on the way, but some are going to pop out at the natural, some are going to pop out at the third, and they're probably all going to die. CoCa's waiting to attack with those drones. Well, at least I thought he was until the Hydras pop, but look at this, the eggs getting focused on before the Hydras even are able to appear. A couple of them get out right now, but that is about it. Doubling the supply of his opponent is StarSquirtle right now, and I think we're going to see a new champion here in Fight Club.
So CoCa's run is going to be very short-lived. The rest of the Roaches are going to die here, and Squirtle is going to take over at IPL Fight Club, collect the $100 bounty, and move on to face next week's opponent. Wow, incredibly well done.
Man,
there it is, GG!